Let's talk about Most Wanted 2012 again. Some of you may remember the video I made a while back. It was actually in like March. I had a look. It was that long ago. We spoke about Most Wanted 2012 and how it wasn't the game it was supposed to be. If you haven't seen that video, well, let me just give you a quick rundown version of it. Most Wanted 2012 came out as a very rushed out the gate game. It wasn't as it was supposed to be. Apparently, this is all speculation and based on some facts that have been dug up, but we don't know if it's 100% true, if it was like before Criterion, if Criterion actually decided to want to try and do this. But Most Wanted 2012 was supposed to be an actual direct sequel of Most Wanted 2. Now we know people are going to say Need for Speed Carbon was the sequel. Yes, Need for Speed Carbon was a sequel, but it was supposed to be a sequel of that game rather than the storyline of that game. They probably weren't going to use the same characters and all that kind of thing. They're probably going to make up their own characters and stuff, but the concept of it was supposed to be modern, updated, like different, but it was supposed to be Most Wanted 2, another Most Wanted. Heavy focus on police and cops and underground street racing, and it had some of those elements in there afterwards, but it was a very rushed job after that. And this next thing that I'm about to show you, the point of this video is going to make you even more kind of hate that this was not the actual game. Before we dive into the actual gameplay, yes, we have gameplay. I just want to say that there's some things in this video that I'm not too keen on, and it shows you that it's ridiculously early on, and I don't know how they got their hands on this footage. This video deserves a massive shout out to Obscure Gamers and Grand Theft Aero. These two guys have been digging on everything to do with the past and Need for Speed. So over on NFS Theories, these guys have been just going in. But without further ado, let me introduce you to what is possibly, and it looks very legit, an actual version of what Most Wanted 2012 was supposed to be.
When you're a fugitive, you can never have anything in your life you can't drop and leave in a heartbeat. No girl, no kids, no steady job. Always looking over your shoulder, always looking in the rearview mirror. You think different, you move different, you are different. You learn to blend in. At least you think you do. Sometimes you can be right up in their faces and they'll not even notice. But it's crazy to take those kinds of chances. Because one day they'll be right around the corner. What am I gonna do? I won't sweat. I won't panic. I'll do what I do best. Drive.
As you can tell, the cheesy storylines were definitely attempted. Now, oh my lord, like straight away you can tell it's Most Wanted 2012, and a very earlier version of it without like the perfect lighting mods and all the textures and everything was just missing. But we have not only just have that little clip there, we actually have some driving in the open world gameplay. So let's get to that. Jumping in, I'm not sure what to say about this other than it looks better than what the game we got. Now, just so you know, the frame rate isn't running that great and everything at the beginning of it. It does get it better throughout, and the handling is a little bit funky looking. It looks like it was a bit weird to handle, but personally, from what I can actually see on this gameplay, it looks like the handling is actually better on this than the final result of the game, and the sounds and everything are just really cool. I honestly think that this version of that we're seeing here was better structured. It doesn't look like there's a stupid brake to drift everywhere. It looks like they were properly going in, and maybe the brake to drift was just slapped on from Burnout after the fact because they just ran out of time, because you can just see the handling is different. It has the drifting there, but you properly have to go in and you can't just tap the brake and you're in an amazing skid. So I like to think, I give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe think, maybe, yeah, maybe they were trying to do good with the handling. Moving back on anyway, so with the takedowns, the dropping of spike strips, that's the one little bit that I'm a bit on. It doesn't look too great, and I'm kind of glad that didn't make it into the game. And I'm pretty sure they were trying to add that. And if that wasn't supposed to be there, and it was more just that, oh, we've got something from the Hop Suit 2010 We take that for now, drop that into this game. It just gives us a way to take down police rather than bumping into each other and that kind of thing. But if they did try and actually put this in, I'm very glad this wasn't actually in the game, because I would still be annoyed that this was still a thing in the fact of taking down cops with air weapons as such is rather silly. I mean, they added weapons in the final game anyway, so it makes me think, okay, they were actually trying to fully add in these weapons into Most Wanted, or into Need for Speed. Now, as they actually finish the thing, they drive off the map here, and it gives you a cost of state, time of pursuit, cops immobilized, all this stuff. Now, this is going to actually be uploaded to Grand Theft Aero's channel soon. He's going to do full in like in-depth kind of walkthrough and stuff, and I believe they have builds of their own, so if you want to know more about it, you should definitely go and check it out on their channels when it actually releases. Go subscribe now. I'm not going to just play once and that's it. I need to keep going through this. I mean, everything about this, just the whole fact that the cops properly get taken down, makes me think that maybe you could have rammed them at some point. And looking at the top, they've got the tracker there again that picks up on the cops and tells you when they're around. And it has the busted and evade meter, which is another thing that we really, really do miss from the previous games. It just makes you go back and think, like, were Criterion the ones actually trying to push Need for Speed in a good direction, but they just ran out of time and they could not finish the game they wanted to make and had to rip it all out? Could it have been that maybe after Most Wanted 2012 they were planning, okay, we can't do it now, we do not have enough time? Were they possibly planning to go, you know what, how about in the next game? How about in the next game we properly give it another go, see where we go, going with a full-on story and everything? And they just didn't really get the chance because they were like, right, no, bring it on to Ghost Games. Like, again, with the handling model alone, were they not trying to put on the basic Criterion handling? Were they trying to develop a proper handling model? They just didn't have the time, because you look at this and you just see that it's definitely not the same handling model. This has got very, like, twitchy controls that you can do, very, like, side to side if you want to. You turn, it has the tire squeal from the original Need for Speed World and Need for Speed Undercover. They had the exact same tire squeal and understeer feeling when you were trying to turn at those speeds. Like, they literally, it brings up so many questions, and we kind of targeted Criterion as being the bad guy throughout the whole Craig it up thing and stuff. Because let's be honest, the point is they still release those games, and we shouldn't, you know, take away any kind of, oh, we don't like this away from that, because they still did it. But at the same time, it makes you think, like, were they actually trying to do what we want, and they just didn't have the time? Even the cutscene stuff at the beginning, it seemed very, very early, let's be honest. I think they probably would have gone much more in depth than that. I mean, I would hope that they would have had characters and kind of, you know, actual Most Wanted rivals and stuff, because as you know, in the final game, what we got given was pretty much, here you go, slap it on. This is basically just we're gonna give you your friends other thing. It's what they do in Forza now. It's where they go, slap, here you go, your friends are your biggest rivals. Those are the ones you should be focused. We don't care about that. We want to race actual proper AI characters with storyline, that sort of thing. Need for Speed is the one game that story is kind of, it needs to be there, and that was one of the, again, another reason my Most Wanted 2012, the final one, wasn't that great. But if this is just kind of a demo, this looks like it's to be just a little bit of a demo to kind of give you an idea, maybe send some EA staff, you know, around the office or higher up to be like, look, this is what we're making. Or it was just an early build that they had, you know, playing around. It shows that they were pretty, they had a solid idea of what they wanted. They had a decent amount of the map modeled. The map is exactly the same from what I can see. It looks pretty much the same. It maybe actually looks a little bit bigger on this, which it probably is. If it is bigger, is usually how it works in game development. You know, they have these massive maps, and then there's parts of it that they just don't have time to build out and flesh out, so they just cut it back a little bit, and honestly, usually makes a much more refined map. I mean, a lot of games do it. I can't think off the top of my head, but I mean, the original Undergrounds, that sort of thing, they had a similar thing. But personally, I think the map in Most Wanted 2012 was okay. The only thing I didn't like about it was that it forced you to have this horrible handling model that was drifting everywhere, which again, might not have been a thing, but I guess they just didn't have the time. So it shows that the hope for Need for Speed, it was always there, and even Criterion held it. That's another thing to bring up, customization. Would there have been customization in this? You don't know. You just don't know. I mean, if you go back to the original video I made on this topic, there were some extra bits in there, like kind of menu screens and stuff with customization in them. But I think that's pretty much gonna wrap this video up. There isn't much else to say other than that. I'm hoping at maybe one point we can get our hands on one of these builds. That would be absolutely fantastic. If not, whatever. We got some gameplay. We got to see what was possibly, hopefully, what was gonna be Most Wanted 2012, but not Most Wanted 2012. A good game, unlike Most Wanted. All right. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of it down below. I'm so glad that we got to see this. I had no idea that we'd ever be able to see anything like this, but there we are. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, smash like, subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until next time, guys, tell me your thoughts. Peace.